Senator Gallagher.
To the Minister for Broadband Communications and the Digital Economy, Senator Conroy. Has the Minister seen the recent statement by Jeremy Hunt about the UK's ambition for broadband, and does this have implications for Australian broadband policy?
Minister for Broadband Communication and the Digital Economy, Senator Conroy.
Thank you, Mr President. Could I thank Senator for his question? In the Australian Financial Review today, the member for Wentworth has again used the plans of BT in the UK as the model for his broadband policy. Well, Mr President, the UK Minister responsible for communications, Mr Jeremy Hunt, doesn't seem to agree with his Conservative colleague on the importance of broadband policy. Yesterday, Minister Hunt emphasised the need to get broadband policy right. And here's what he had to say. This is Mr Hunt. My nightmare is that when it comes to broadband, we could make the same mistake as we made with high-speed rail. When a high-speed rail network opens from London to Birmingham in 2026, it will be 45 years after the French opened theirs and 62 years after the Japanese opened theirs. Just think how much our economy has been held back by lower productivity over half a century. We must not make the same short-sighted mistake. And he went on to say, we must never fall into the trap of saying any speed is enough. Today's super fast is tomorrow's super slow. Well, Mr President, Minister Hunt went on to respond to a House of Lords committee saying they suggest that fibre to the Cabinet is the sum of the government's ambitions. They are wrong. Where fibre to the Cabinet is the chosen solution, it is most likely to be a temporary stepping stone to fibre to the home. That's right, Mr President, a temporary stepping stone to fibre to the home. Well, Mr Hunt has demonstrated the short-sighted vision of those opposite, and particularly the short-sighted, cowardly approach, Mr President, that those down in that far corner are showing on behalf of their constituents.
Senator Gallagher.
Thank you, Mr President. My first supplementary is, can the Minister advise whether fibre to the node has been considered by the Australian Government, and is the Minister aware of fibre to the node developments in other markets close to Australia?
Minister.
Thank you. And yes, you are right, Senator Birmingham, but the government did initially, Mr President, consider an FTTN solution. As senators would be aware, and Senator Birmingham is interjecting, we went to tender and could not find a commercial partner for that solution. But more significantly, Mr President, the expert panel with some of Australia's finest minds in telecommunications that evaluated the tender advised the government that FTTP was the future for broadband to the premise. Mr President, FTTN is a costly diversion from the ultimate path of fibre to the home and does not offer value for taxpayers' dollars. That's what the experts said. Now, I know the experts are not something that others on the opposite side like to take any notice of, Mr President, but just like the New Zealand government abandoned midstream their fibre to the node build to build fibre to the premise, Mr Turnbull and those opposite are being exposed.
Time's expired, Senator Conroy. Senator Gallagher.
Thank you, Mr President. My second supplementary, is the Minister aware of any other countries where fibre to the premises networks are being built?
Order. The Minister.
Thank you, Mr President. Mr Turnbull told us to look at the UK. Mr Turnbull told us to look at New Zealand. Well, we've seen that both of those are turning to fibre to the premise. But Mr Turnbull didn't mention France. And you might ask, why didn't he mention France? Because France, Mr President, is building a fibre to the home network to 15 million French by 2020. And does Mr Turnbull know about France, Mr President? Well, let me turn to Mr Turnbull's declaration of interest, which he has just released, about his own personal investments. Did he invest, Mr President, in British Telecom? No. Has he invested in New Zealand's Telecom's chorus? No. Did he invest in France Telecom and its fibre to the home network? Yes. Yes. Well, Mr Turnbull knows the business plan, he sees it, but what he should be doing is putting his mouth where his money
Order.
is. Put his mouth
Order,
where his money
Senator
is.
Conroy.
In fibre to the home.
Senator Conroy, your time's expired.